Welcome to the Love Dog Podcast. I am your co-host, Raina Butcher, here with our host, Dr. Sarah Hensley, the owner, CEO, and founder of the Love Dog Relationship Coaching Services.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Well, I'm super excited today because we have a really awesome guest with us.
Yes, we do.
That I have been following for about 6 months. And I'm so excited for her to tell her story and for her to enlighten us with some of the things that she has been through. We are starting our series on family court, and we've dabbled in that topic a few times, but we're really going to hit it hard in this series. So, but first we need to thank our affiliate.
Yes, Armra.
Colostrum.
Thank you, Armra.
We are such big fans.
I got it in my water again today.
Of course she does. I always have it in mine as well. It is an all-around supplement, immunity, hair health, gut health. It just kind of does just about everything, and it tastes delicious.
The peach. This is the peach. I just got the peach, and it's very good.
Sitting on my dining room table, waiting to be opened. I'm excited.
Just a little tidbit or tip. So we partied kind of hard on the lake yesterday.
Just a little bit.
And Armor actually kind of helps me bounce back when I've partied a little too hard.
Yes.
It's good for the hangovers if you ever have one.
I will only really drink mimosas, but I definitely had a few yesterday. And yeah.
The Armor helps me bounce back, for sure. It always helps me bounce back.
You can go to their website, armra.com, use code LOVEDOC, and get 15% off if it is your first order. So thank you, Armra.
Yes. So today, with our Family in Court series, we're starting with Meg Miller, which Stand with Meg, right, is your
platform.
Your platform. I think we just want to start off really just tell us your story. Tell us, how it all began, from the beginning. This is your chance to kind of just shine light on what you're going through. Obviously, Sarah and I have had our own experiences in the family court system. Oh shit, I'm already getting emotional. Hold on. I gotta take a breath because it's triggering. I'll be honest, it's very triggering. And mine happened 15 years ago. So I've had some time to get past it and heal from it and forgive those who really hurt me. But I know you're in the throes of it, and you've been living this battle for a long time, a very long time. So start from the beginning.
Yes.
Because our listeners, we know that this is going to be so valuable for our listeners because just based on the video that you posted and the comments that they got, there's so many people going through this and so many people that are fearful of, maybe getting a divorce because they fear the family court system.
Yes. And,
you've got your own story here. We don't want to scare our listeners, but we want to bring awareness to our listeners of what's happening. And we want to give people like you, Meg, and like all of us that have been through it, a voice.
Yes. That is so important.
And so here's your chance.
Just tell us, Meg. Tell us. I've heard
not that you don't have your own platform.
Yeah,
you have a beautiful
I've heard
platform
bits
too.
and pieces of your story because for a long time you were sort of operating under that gag order, you couldn't share certain things, and now you're at a point where you can be more open. So just give us the raw truth to the degree that you're comfortable with of what you've gone through.
So I've always wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and grew up in a family of 8 siblings. So I've always been around family. And I I was young, 23, found a guy that I thought was a very good Christian guy, We saved ourselves to get married because he wanted to do it right because I was his second wife. He had a kid. I saw him be a dad. I thought I was doing everything correct. Our honeymoon, he changed. I was pregnant 2 weeks later. Couldn't leave.
Yeah.
Then, anyway, so then I was stuck. So then I tried to leave. I tried to escape. And I left when my daughter was 3 months old. But then my dad said, you honor your commitment and you get back. Okay, he's not really doing what you're saying.
Right.
And there was a lot of physical, very bad physical. Anyway, so I said, okay, God, I'm going to do it. I have a kid. I'm going to do it. So our second one's planned. And then it just went bad. And so anytime I would try to leave, I'd get pregnant. Lost everything. He made me lose my job, So I was trapped. What do you do when you're trapped?
Yeah.
And I knew he started making a lot of money at this time. And I knew that if I left, he told me, I'm going to make your life a living hell if you leave.
Yeah.
And I'll take the kids.
My ex said the same thing to me, and this happens all the time.
Right, it does. And so I just, you know what I said? God, just have him cheat and leave on me. Because I couldn't leave. So I thought if he left me for another woman, he would be nicer.
That's when you know it's really bad.
Yeah.
When you're like, just cheat on me and then
Yeah.
find somebody else and leave.
That's literally the same thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
I was like, please let me find him cheating.
Yeah.
Like, and please just like let him
Just
choose
go.
someone else.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem is whenever he was domestic violence to me, I couldn't call the cops. He had me to the ground once when I was pregnant with our second. I was holding our 2-year-old daughter in the Target parking lot. And right away when I fell to the ground, he went to the car saying I hit him. And he was taking a picture with a newspaper. And like he was so trying to be convincing that I did it. I was 7 months pregnant,
Right.
holding a 2-year-old out. I had but a man with
Right.
big muscles. But I knew then if I reported it, who would they believe?
It's
And then
a risk.
it is. And then who would they take my kids away because they're going to believe him or me? And so it wasn't worth reporting, which is horribly wrong. And this was even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's so hard too when you're in those circumstances, and we both can relate here, where you are trauma bonded to somebody, they come back, they hoover you back in, you think they're going to change, and we've talked about this multiple times with our exes, is that I truly believed every time he would hoover me back in that it would get better.
Yeah,
I
I
would
did
tell
too.
myself, like, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to get better.
That's
I know
part
it's
of the
going to get
trauma
better.
Especially when you have children involved.
Yeah. And then all that happened was it got worse. And it got worse and it got worse. And there was more cheating and there was more emotional abuse. Now, I never really dealt with physical abuse per se, but definitely emotional abuse. And it's you lose all sense of self. And so then that's a huge part of it too, because not only do you have these abusers who are doing things like hoovering you in and giving you false hope and giving you toxic hope, but then you lose your identity and who you are, all while you're trying to be a mother and trying to save your children and thinking you're doing the right thing. And then you just end up sort of in this weird space where you just feel really lost. And so when your abuser comes and abuses you more, right? It's just this vicious cycle that you can't get out of.
Yeah, it is.
So, I mean, I just want to say that because we totally understand
Yes.
that cycle.
And some people are very judgmental. I thought
Yeah.
you said you left him. Well, he left me, but I wanted him to leave.
Right.
But I didn't like how he left. How he left, I thought was, I was pregnant with the twins. So I had, I was trying to leave after our second born. And then I was trying to leave before my third. And everyone's like, how do you know how to not get pregnant? I said, you know what a woman, I mean, you tell your partner not to do something. What am I going to go get an abortion after my husband? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and they can be very manipulative over the birth control process.
I couldn't take a pill, so I know how not. I haven't gotten pregnant in
Right.
10 years. I know how not to.
Right.
But when a person can control,
Yeah,
his
there's
thing,
manipulation. Manipulation is a
Yeah.
huge tactic there.
And sexual abuse, sexual coercion, I mean, SA, it's not always your fault or your decision.
and your own husband can, and I didn't realize that.
100%.
Yeah, and I just spoke to somebody who I've been Facebook friends with for a long time. We were in a mom's group together, and she revealed to me that like her husband keeps getting her pregnant and she has no control over it, and she didn't even realize that was abusive.
Yep.
And
I
I'm like,
didn't either.
that is abusive, demanding and forcing sex upon you right after, and when you're in postpartum and you're nursing.
Or you're pregnant with a 10-pound baby, making
Yeah.
you get on your hands and knees on a wood floor.
Yeah, it happens, and it happens way too often.
It does, and that's one thing I love when you guys are talking about it, because I didn't realize that until I was in therapy, and I was saying he did physical, all of it, and she's like, no, please add in the essay. I'm like, really?
Yes.
She's like, Megan, you have, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because we don't talk about it.
Well, and you struggle with, this is where I've struggled, with my own sexual trauma with my ex, is I used to look at it like, well, I was a participant, right? I participated. But when I think back to the coercion and the manipulation and, the lack of emotional safety, I wasn't even myself. Right? I wasn't this person who could really stand up for myself and say, no, this doesn't feel good to me.
Right.
Right? This feels off. This feels really wrong.
And I think that's one thing after I got out of my relationship, I remember telling someone, I've never had, can we say this? I never had an orgasm with my husband.
You can absolutely say that.
Okay. And I always thought I just don't have one during intercourse. And no, I was wrong. It's because I didn't trust him. I didn't feel
you
safe.
weren't feeling emotional.
Yeah,
And I'm like-
emotional safety is absolutely required for
intimacy.
the response of the body for the female, and we have talked about that a few times, I think. And it's just, this is so much more common than people realize. And, SA comes in many forms, many, many, many forms. And, it's not easy to leave an abusive relationship. They trap you in just about every way that they can trap you. And then you're terrified. And then when you actually do, a lot of the things you fear actually do happen. And I do not want anybody listening to this podcast to think, oh gosh, now I can't get a divorce. We just want to educate you about how to best protect yourself, because nobody tells you how to protect yourself. And you can't always completely protect yourself.
And don't hide it. Tell your friends. And then, when I would remember being pregnant with the twins, and he was berating me, and I had tears going down my face at my daughter's school thing. And I didn't tell anybody. I was embarrassed.
Yeah, because you're ashamed. Because you're like, people are going to go, well, then why are you married to them?
Yes.
Like, why are you still here? So you become very, very ashamed.
Yes.
And you do want to hide it, and you do want to minimize it. And I experienced that exact same thing.
Isolation.
Yep. And it just makes the cycle, it just makes you even more ingrained into the cycle, because you're like, well, I'm so ashamed and so embarrassed that I've been in this situation so long, and I don't want to be judged. And, I don't want my kids to be impacted by people knowing about this. So you do keep it to yourself.
And we can turn it around to tell other men and women. If a woman tells you something, you believe her. Vice versa. Men can be abused by women.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it can go both ways.
It
But
can
if someone
absolutely go
tells
both
you
ways.
there's some, bad stuff going on, you support them.
Yeah.
Because if I would have known that I could tell somebody, even if that person decides to leave later on, you could be a witness. Look, I was there. I saw it.
Yeah.
And that's where people aren't held accountable for protecting victims.
Well, and isolation is a tricky thing too, because I know, again, in my experience, I had felt like I was a participant in my own isolation. And so because of that, I felt ashamed to then reach out, because my family had tried, and they had tried, and they had tried, and they had tried. From the beginning, this isn't healthy. Get out of this. So then when it was finally time to really get out, I'd isolated myself so much at the hands of course, my ex too, right? There's that manipulation tactic there that I just couldn't speak up about it, right? I was too afraid until of course I was forced to, which is a very similar situation than what you're going through. My kid was ripped away from me too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So let's, so when did he finally leave, or did you finally leave?
So I had my third, and then I was going to leave again after he was a month or two. We went on a trip to New Orleans with all his business partners, who's begging me to stay. I said, no, I'm leaving. It was our last trip. I had to, had to show it was a business trip, right? So I had to be his little, trophy, I guess.
Right.
And then I came home on the airplane home. I remember going, I didn't start my period, but I was nursing. I had a 1 or 2 month old, I was pumping the whole time when I was on this trip. Yeah, I found I was pregnant that night. And I'm like, I'm going to have 2 kids in 1 year. Then it was 3 kids in 1 year.
Oh my goodness.
So then a month later, I found out I was twins. And I was like,
oh my gosh.
3 in 1 year. I was pregnant 2 years in a row, or summers,
Yeah.
So, but then I was pregnant with the twins, and then he was always gone. But I finally found a receipt that he had bought all brand new furniture for the other house, and I was really pregnant. And so I found out he was leaving. So then he moved out, and I filed for divorce to protect myself, because he started emptying all the bank accounts, So I had the twins. He took me to the hospital pretending that he was a husband, but he didn't wear his ring, and I did. And I knew he was cheating on me. And I had to have him in the operating room, because I wanted my girls to know that their dad was there.
Sure.
But it was hard.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You know? And he's texting his girlfriend the whole time, sending pictures. But had the twins, thank the Lord, they were healthy. They were in the NICU for 2 weeks. But he was gone. He left right after I had the babies. Didn't even take me home from the hospital. I had to have someone pick me up. Anyway, so I was in the hospital for 2 weeks with the twins, and I was juggling the 3 little ones at home with the babysitter, because, at that time, just turned 1, just turned 3, and a 5-year-old had to start kindergarten. So I'm taking the kindergarten to school. I'm driving to the hospital an hour away, taking care of the twins, coming back, taking care of the threes. But then after that, a week later, I had to be there full time, because I was nursing twins. So I'd nurse one, then I'd nurse the other, and then I'd pump for an hour.
Right.
Then I'd nurse one.
Yeah, that's all you do.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
And he turned off my credit. He shut all my credit cards off. I couldn't eat. And so my friend had to come up and give me a credit card to eat. And it just got worse. He turned off all the water when I got home with the twins. So I had to take all the kids in the car to turn the water back on. We lived in $1 million house. I went from a $1 million house to food stamps. He didn't pay child support for 18 months. There was a GoFundMe that went national. Got $10,000 to even buy stuff. So it was a long 3 years of it. But the truth was told. The judge saw the truth. They saw that his nanny at the time, he lied under oath that it was his nanny, but it was a girlfriend, which I don't care. He had a girlfriend.
Right.
The problem is I've had 2 people conspire to take my children away from me for over 12 years now. And they won. But the divorce decree was solid. It was a 30-page divorce decree. I got 80%. Not because I didn't want them to have a dad, but he was all vacationing all the time.
Right, or working.
Yeah, and working, and not even taking care of the kids. I mean, I had people that couldn't afford their own groceries give me groceries, and that was hard because he makes millions.
Right.
You know, and I'm just like, so in my decree, it talks about he's buying furniture for this nanny, taking her on vacations. I couldn't even get the AC to fix in my van. So my kids were in a hot van. I had pictures of them sweating, and he wouldn't trade vehicles with me. So to get the AC for a van for them. So it was hard. I couldn't even go to the grocery store by myself. There was no, you couldn't like order online.
Right.
I had 2 car seats. Like, who was going to hold the 1-year-old boy?
Right.
Who was going to hold a 3-year-old? I was trapped.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got out, I took the kids to go see Santa for the first time by myself, and the twins were babies. And I was so proud of myself, but I'm like, how do I nurse? I had a nurse. It was crazy. But everything, he started stalking me and harassing me, put a GPS on my car. The state put a protection order on him.
And this is when the divorce was final?
Sorry, this was going through. So the divorce took 3.5 years.
Okay.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, 6 court dates.
Yeah.
$350,000. And that was the equity I got out of the house, but it went to a lawyer.
Yeah. So a 3.5-year divorce, that's pretty brutal. What else was going on during that time?
During exchanges, he would touch me inappropriately. If I was holding a baby, he would touch my chest. He just felt like, even though he had a woman, he just felt like I was his property still.
Right.
We had a situation to where I'd be putting the kids in the van, helping him, because we had 5 in car seats. And he would put his back on me and rub his thing on me. And finally, at that point, I was like, I'm recording this. And so I had put my cell phone and hid it. And it showed he wouldn't let me go. And I had my kids were around. And I'm not going to push him off saying, get off of me.
Right.
I don't want to scare my kids.
Right.
So the video, I'm just sitting there. Can you let go of me, please? But my daughter's walking around. So, and I said, get that off of me. I'm not doing anything. While he's. So finally, I did make a report on that. His father actually told me to call the cops.
Good. Yeah.
And I did, and I just made a report. Well, the state put a huge protection order and charged him. Thank God. And so there's a protected order on him. We went through court, but then the attorney made me drop it because, we don't want that, which is a whole absurd thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, protection order was in for 2 years. Come to find out, he one day he was like, are you dating a guy? And I'm like, it's been 2 years. What do you... And something was weird. And his mother goes, something's on your car. So we go and the GPS. And this was in the day where the GPS was big and it was but it was a big one. It wasn't even one, like it stuck up under there and they pulled it off. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it took 8 months for it to tie to him. And he got charged. And the day he got arrested, I was so excited. He turned himself in. And he pleaded guilty, but took it down to misdemeanor because it was a felony. But he does mortgages. He's a Christian mortgage guy in Kansas City. He's very well known. He's all over the Christian radio network. He's had his own radio show. But so he didn't want that charge because he couldn't work.
Right.
So he pleaded guilty. Misdemeanor had only 90 days house arrest. During this whole time, he's writing me love letters and begging me back while he's sending me flowers while he's with his nanny girlfriend. So, but anyway, all that happened. And then the divorce was final. I thought, oh, we won. Let's get over with it, Nope, took me back to court in a different state.
So what was in your final divorce decree?
The final decree stated how a wonderful mother I was, how I chose my children over any relationship, how I was night and day with my kids, and I chose a house based off my children's safety. And then it went into how he was vacationing, not seeing the children, how when the twins were in the NICU for 2 weeks, he only visited them twice for an hour. So it really, the 30-page divorce decree really showed the truth. Took $350,000 to get there and 6 court dates, but at least the truth was known. And I thought, thank the Lord. And the judge really cared about the situation because I couldn't work. I had to claim I was working in the divorce, which still doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
But but there was no daycare provided for, so I couldn't even work. But because 5 kids in daycare,
Right.
That's an enormous expense.
That would take all your money.
yeah.
Every bit of it.
Right. And so the top, so that's what's weird, and every state is different, but it doesn't matter if you make 100,000 to $1 million. It's the same percentage. So I got $3,000 for 5 children a month.
Wow. That's, that's not enough to even probably cover the cost of daycare for 5 kids.
Right. So I couldn't work. So I was strapped to not work.
Right.
But then the judge really felt for me. I was only married 6 years, but it's created 17 years of hell.
Just goes to show you, I try to tell my older daughter, who you choose to marry in life will have the biggest impact on every aspect of your life. Ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Well, you can change jobs. You can change where you live. You can change family. But who you choose to partner with will detect your whole life, change your whole life,
Right.
and who you have a kid with.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
that is the worst thing. And you have to, I'm a photographer, and so I take senior pictures. And every girl I talk to, and boy, I said, who you choose to partner with, that's the biggest choice you'll ever make.
Yeah.
And it's worse. It can make your life amazing, or it can make your life living hell.
That's right.
Choose wisely.
Yes. Choose very wisely.
So yes, I love that you just said that, because I totally believe by that. And when somebody always told me one time, if you have a partner, vision having a son like him. Would you want a son that acts like him?
Yeah, I know. I remember being pregnant with my second, and my husband started drinking again. He was sober for a little while, and then he started drinking pretty soon after I got pregnant with my second, and it went downhill so badly. And I just remember being like, God, please let this be a girl, because if this is a boy, the same-sex parent tends to be the most influential parent. I mean, not always, but it, tends to be. I said, he will corrupt a son. It will not be okay. He will not teach this son good morals and good values. And at least if it's a daughter, maybe she'll look at me to know how to grow up and the morals and the values to have. Which that sounds harsh, but it's
even if
how I felt.
But if you look at a person, let's say that you don't like how they're acting when you're dating, visualize your son act like that. Would you support your son acting that way?
Right.
Even if that child never met their father, but it's still a genetic thing too.
There's a genetic component to lots of psychological disorders. I mean, narcissism also being one of them.
Yeah. So let's see, where were we?
Well, you were talking about your divorce was final. What I want our listeners to know and for you to really bring awareness to is when shit hit the fan and what happened, what led up to that, and then what's happened since.
So 2016, my divorce was final. He appealed it. So that went through almost the end of December. 2017, went back to court. Not even a few months later, in a different state. Then we're in court for 2.5 years.
Because he changed jurisdictions on you. Because you live, can I say where you live or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so you live in Kansas City, and Kansas City is right there on the line between Missouri and Kansas. So if you live on one side of the city, you're in KC-Mo. If you're on the other side, you're in KCK. So
okay, because I was going to ask that how but
it's the city is pretty much split between two
It
states.
is, and so I can go 5 minutes, and I'm in Missouri.
Right.
I mean, it's people don't understand it. I don't know if there's any other huge city that's on in the line.
There is, but I know of anyway.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's where it's easy to do that, and a lot of people do it. But that's where he took me back. But the problem was he took me back to court to lower the child support to $900 a month.
For 5 children? What? See, in Kentucky, I don't know how it works in different states. In Kentucky, it's just like a mathematical formula that all these things go in to it. And unless you agree to something different mutually, it is what it is.
Right.
Based on the income and the amount of children that you have.
Correct. That's where this gets weird, because he went through 8 attorneys. And it was 7 or 8. I'm not factual on this.
Red flag.
So, right. So when he found a good attorney that really saw the truth, they leave.
Right.
You know?
They don't want that.
So the only attorneys that he could keep are the dirty ones that just want the money. Well, he doesn't mind spending money to hurt
Except
me.
on his kids.
Right.
Yeah, except on his kids to be in your care, then it's a problem.
Right.
But that's where you still have to fight it, even though there is a calculation.
Right.
If I didn't go to court and prove the calculation,
Right.
that they would go down 900 like that.
Right.
And I will say, I didn't say this. The judge on the divorce decree did give me $3,000 of maintenance because he knew I couldn't support the children on $3,000 on child support.
Right.
So he did give me maintenance to offset it, and that's what I did get $6,000, so I could survive. But preschool costs $1,000
Yeah,
a month.
yeah.
I still was tight.
Yeah.
Not to mention I still had lawyer bills.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and those pile up.
Yeah. Like that's
Those
so
pile up,
quick.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 5 kids. I mean,
We have 4 in my house. My husband has 2. I have my 2 daughters that my husband just adopted recently because of their dad's passing, and 4 kids. I mean, Raina can tell you our house is a zoo.
pure chaos.
It's pure chaos
24/7.
24/7. And I mean, I can't even imagine them all being like that little. Like our oldest are 12 and 14 now, so they're pretty independent. Like they can go make themselves some food, right?
Right.
Like they can kind of be home, and not need like you being right there. I mean, when you have a 1 or 2-year-old, your whole life is just making sure they don't climb on something to
right.
like
Right. I mean, I
bounce
was
their head or fall down.
I had to wait for the twins to take a nap so I could push mow the yard, while my boys would follow me with their little play push mower so I could watch them.
Oh my gosh.
While my ex pays for everything to be done, cleaning, when he had the kids a nanny, everything. And here I'm trying to push mow and that's how I could watch them. So it was unbelievably crazy of the situation that I was stuck in. And I'm so thankful through all that, God was by my side. And, the nights of nursing my twins and them throwing up on each other and then throwing up on me. And then the 1-year-old crying in the middle of the night, me going upstairs to get them. And then my 3-year-old still waking up.
You have no sleep. No
No,
sleep.
we didn't.
None. I had no sleep with one child. I mean, my
Yeah.
kids are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
So, my oldest was definitely sleeping through the night by the time I had my youngest. But then she didn't sleep. Neither of my kids slept. And just getting up with one child was enough to almost break you.
Yeah.
But here's
can't
what
even
I will
imagine
say
that.
through all that. God showed me this. Even though it was horribly hard, they're my children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you find the
And I
strength.
did it. And I
Yeah.
didn't have a person there yelling at me while I did it.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have been the same.
Yeah.
I would
It
have
would
been
have been
doing
the
it by
same.
myself.
Yep. I lived that too.
And that's what God was saying. Megan, you can do this. Everyone's, how did you do it? Guess what? You would do it too if you were in the same
Yeah.
situation.
You have to, 'cause
You
they're
have
your
to.
children.
They're our children. And we love them. And it gave me that strength. So anyone does want to leave, it's hard.
Yeah. it
But
is.
guess what? It's easier. Because I didn't have anyone dictating how I fed my child or dictating how I clean the kitchen or clean the toilet, right?
Right.
So it was
Yep.
like freedom.
I do
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah. Freedom is.
I understand that
priceless.
100% because if you are with a partner that does not help you and is also abusing you, at least you're free from the abuse while you're still doing all of the hard work.
Right. That
Exactly.
you would have been doing anyway
That
by
you would- I would-
yourself.
yeah, you'd been doing it
Exactly.
anyway. So
And that's what I tell people. Yes, it is scary, and your kids might, go through this. And my situation got really bad, and we can turn on to that if you guys want to. But that's why there is hope, and it's hell going through the legal system.
Right.
But at least you don't have that in your home.
Right.
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 Yeah, I mean,
Which is
being
healthier for the children.
being free from
is.
abuse, it's not an easy journey either. People think like, oh, once you're out and you're free, it's just like sunshine and rainbows. It's not. You're trauma bonded. Your brain has become addicted to this intermittent reinforcement cycle of massive stress hormones coupled by, dopamine and serotonin when things are somewhat calm or something's not happening, and then you get massive dump of stress hormones. Your nervous system is just totally wrecked. And so, believe it or not, people don't even know this about trauma bonding. There's a withdrawal stage where your brain chemistry is just so messed up because it's become addicted to this cycling of stress hormones plus like the relief hormones or relief chemicals, I should say. And it's a roller coaster for your brain, even when you're out of it. You're crying, then you feel empowered, and then you feel sad, and then you feel, like you're scared, and it's just a roller coaster of all sorts of emotions that happen, even when the threat isn't living with you anymore.
Yes, I agree with you that. And I think that was kind of my saving grace because there was a restraint order. He couldn't contact me, even though he was, but he couldn't at least call me. But I think God kept me so busy with those children
Yeah.
and the happiness I got from the little twins and the little ones running around with the big chunky cheeks. And,
Right.
that I didn't have time
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
think on that.
Yeah.
That was a gift because it was just the children and there was no, but I've worked on myself since then as they've gotten older, to get through it. But I didn't have those feelings because these children were all over me.
Yeah. So
Right.
you were probably
Right, you
fairly
didn't have time.
dissociated just in the trenches of parenting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was still going to therapy every week. My therapist would help me change diapers if there's a blowout, so I was always working on myself during all of this. And that's one reason I didn't want to attach myself to another person.
Yes.
But
Yeah, I just want kudos to you, Meg. I hear your story and it puts my own story in perspective where I'm just like, I had one and it was hard and then, and I feel like it was just this long battle and my battle was long and it was drawn out. But I could not imagine trying to do all that with 5 kids under the age of 10. Like, it blows my mind. Like, if anything, you deserve an award.
Oh, no.
You deserve an award that you're here and that, you're still fighting. And,
and that's where the story gets so sad.
Yeah, I know. And we want to talk about that too. We definitely want to talk about that, even though it is sad.
Because there was so much pain and trauma that I got through.
Yeah.
I won, meaning my kids are safe, And so then we got through it, and then out of nowhere, I thought everything was going to be okay. We went through court. I fought that battle, another $50,000 on my credit cards. The judge says, no, you still need to pay $3,000. Actually went up $100. So it was $209 or something, $209, $3,000 total by this time. And I'm like, yay, I won again.
Yeah.
Now, behind my back, my ex and his wife, and we didn't even go through the fact of his wife going to the cops, telling all I want you to do is get arrested, had all my town cops looking out for me, that if I made one mistake, they were going to arrest me. And they planned how they were going to take my kids from me and put me in jail so she can have my kids as her own. That's going on while he's doing it. So I've had 2 horrible people.
Disordered people tend to find more disordered people, right? And I hear that a lot, right? New wife comes in, new wife's like, no, I want this to be my family. I've had so many clients tell me that they've experienced that very same thing, where new wife is like, wants to be the mom, wants to be the face of the family, wants to have the kids and have...
And I'm sure that happens with dads too. Like new dad
for sure.
comes in, wants to be new dad.
Yeah. It can go both ways.
Absolutely.
It really can. This is not a gendered issue. I am the first one to say, I know through experience.
In your practice.
Ask me how I know. If you listen to our last episode, you will know that women can be just as abusive and nasty and disordered as men can be. So,
and I've met men that will pay extra child support and make sure his wife's taken care of.
Sure.
And had 4 kids at home. He's like, I don't want her to have to disrupt the children. So I do know there are great men out there.
My husband pays $300 extra a month that he does not have to pay because it's technically for daycare costs. His kid is 12 now and not in daycare. But he's like, I just don't want to take that away from her mom because, she's relied on that for so long. And then he will jump in and pay for whatever else she needs. Like we'll pay for braces, we'll pay for whatever, it's all about making sure his kids have everything that they need.
Yeah. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, and there are so many good men that are like that.
There are.
And there are also people that are in my situation that really are horrible. You can't have our children. No, you can't have them. I had my kids 80%, but anytime my ex wanted to take my son to a car show for 3 days, go for it. Yeah. Anytime a Chiefs game, Royals game, go for it.
Right.
I did not care.
Well, you don't want your children to miss out on those experiences.
No, and it was like I had an extra kid for a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
It was nice, but I never withheld my kids from their father ever. Even as I became older, you want to go, fine, go. I don't care. So there is a difference there too. Even though I don't like how my ex treated me, and I didn't agree with how he treated our children, I can't control that.
Right.
I can't control what goes on in his house, and
can't.
and some people are like, the Disneyland dad. Well, be happy it's a Disneyland dad instead of the mean dad.
Right.
What do you want?
Right.
Pick one. Well, I'd pick the Disneyland dad. I want my kid coming home going, Dad bought me this.
Yeah.
So I've always taught people that. Be happy for that, because I've had them come home bawling their eyes out because dad did this, right? I don't want, and you can't control it.
No. You can't control it at all. And the court system doesn't care. They don't care.
They don't care.
No.
They don't care at all. And so I think that's why so many of my clients are afraid of getting a divorce, is because I don't trust them, my spouse, as the other parent, to raise these kids somewhat on his own or her own. And it is true that it can be scary, and a lot of people end up parallel parenting. And what I like to say is, one secure, healthy parent, the science shows, can make an amazing difference in whether a kid becomes securely attached or not. And so you can always be that parent, as long as you have access to your children, which I think is where your story takes a really dark turn.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about when it hit the fan.
So I finally, we had COVID hit. My kids are all in school finally in 2020. Everyone's in school.
All right.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
Then they're home for 8 months.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm homeschooling all of them.
Right.
It took 5 hours a day.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So then that happened. And then finally in 2022, I could get a job. And I was so excited to have a career. I was like, yay.
Yeah.
So I found my dream job. And my kids were super excited. They wanted to move, so we moved into our dream home. I was like, if you want to live in the school district, I can't afford this. I need to make more money. Okay, we'll support mom. We'll get you. So did that. I moved into her home, super excited. And I didn't know behind my back for a whole year, my ex and his wife had been meeting with our children's court-appointed therapist, telling him them lies. And the court order even states that both parents have to be present with the therapist, meaning you can't text her privately, you can't email her privately. I didn't know he was meeting with her. So for instance, when I found this out, one date, I was at my twins' field trip having a ball with with everyone in the school. He was there telling the therapist horrible lies about me. 69 sessions that I didn't know.
Oh my gosh.
Then he got to a point where he would take the kids after they're at my house, like after Christmas, right before they're taken. He would take them to the therapist. And my children got in the car one day after school, my 4 little ones, said, Mom, Dad keeps making us say lies about you. I have this on recording. And this was not from his house. This is from school. They just got in the car. Mom, Dad keeps saying we have to make up things about you. And if we don't say it, that those things are true, then we will get in huge trouble. And they probably dramatized a little bit of it. Like
Right.
I had to go to bed without dinner, or Dad made us go to bed at 6. I don't know the truth on that, but there's 3 of them were saying, and 4 of them were saying this, right? So I said, well, guys, it's not good to lie. Well, Dad, we get in trouble, Mom. We're so sorry. So I started seeing some things happening, like what's going on? Anyway, moved in our home. I'm so excited to have a job finally. I feel like I could have a life for the first time. I did give him 50% a year before that because I'm like thinking if I give him 50%, they're older now. The twins were 10. The oldest was older.
Right.
Maybe he'll stop.
Right.
No, it got worse. So then I was at my home. My kids, and I loved our whole situation. They all had their own rooms. They had their own bathrooms. It was a lot for me to get this house. Like it was but I said, okay, they're only going to be here for 8 more years.
Yeah.
8 more years. Okay. So I had a wonderful weekend with my children. My mom came to visit like she always does. We made dragon hair. It's like a weird, but I did everything. Slime, you name it, Made homemade popcorn. That morning, took my kids to school, dropped them off. My son Tristan at that time was 11. And he always kisses me, makes sure every time. And he didn't do it that day. My son's like, Mom, you come to my basketball game after work? Are you going to miss work? I said, yep, I'm going to miss work. My twins were excited to do a 4th grade project. And I found out at 11:30 a.m. that I had to go to court at 2 or 3. I get to court, full custody. They wanted they wanted to take my kids completely away from me. And I was like, what? Why? How? What?
Yeah. I'm
sitting there and they read the most disgusting things anyone could ever say about a woman, about a mom, about a parent. And that was it.
And so what were if you feel comfortable sharing, what were the allegations?
Well, first off, I've never seen them.
What?
Never got to read them. And the judge even said I'm only going to read part of them because it's so bad. No one's questioned me. The guardian ad litem never's questioned me. And the guardian ad litem was the one that filed it. So the guardian ad litem is actually very well known in my county he hates women. He says all women are batshit crazy. He's also a judge.
Oh. Okay.
And a lawyer. But I have found probably 10 women now that have lost their kids like I have because of this GAL.
Were there had anybody signed affidavits? Under what grounds were
it just the order said I lose full custody because I have mental illness and I drink too much. That's what I saw, but I didn't get to see the deep report of why.
Right.
And all I know is what I remember hearing. And you have to remember too. I don't remember everything because I was all of a sudden
because you're traumatized for a
sure.
moment,
Yeah.
and memories are encoded differently when you're being traumatized.
Right.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
But I do remember certain things. I teach my kids how to give head.
Oh my gosh.
I watch porn with my children.
What?
I have random guys at my house watching my children, which everyone in the whole neighborhood and everyone knows me. I don't have a man.
Right.
Never. I brought one guy. A long time ago, I had one short relationship. Not short. We were together for 2 years, but I only saw each other every other weekend.
Right.
Because I kept him away from my kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So even I did have a little relationship.
And you're entitled to a life.
Right. But I never, ever did. I saw him for 2 years, and then I could only see him every other weekend. And then my kids met him finally after years, but they didn't ever, anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I always never had a man in my bed. My kids have never seen a man in my bed, ever. Not even their father.
Right.
The oldest remembers, maybe, because she was 5.
Right.
But they've never seen. They've been in my bed. So for him to say that, so that was absurd. And even if I did have a guy come over,
Right, you're entitled to a life.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have food in my house. My pantry was empty. Even though I had a half a cow in my garage, my pantry was full, organized.
Yeah.
My mom recorded walking in my house after we were gone. The whole pantry's full, but I had no food.
Yeah, that's
Cats pee
insane.
on the bed.
Yeah.
Mold. I lived in a $550,000 house that I worked my tail off for.
Yeah.
Everyone came to my house. My house was an open door. When you don't have a partner, people can just come in and you don't care, right? If a kid didn't want to go home at 11 o'clock at night because they're spending the night, they were in my house. People saw me every minute of my life. 6 o'clock in the morning, a kid had practice, their dad's picking them up.
I mean, just based based on what you've just said here today, it's very evident that you are a very hands-on mother. Like you don't even have to defend that with us.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
This not to the degree that you have gone through, but something very similar happened to me. My ex filed a dependent neglect and abuse case. Just said she's neglectful, she's abusive, she puts the physical and emotional well-being of our child in danger. His parents signed affidavits, and boom, my kid was gone. Gone. No other evidence, to say that, no psychologist saying that I'd had multiple psychological disorders, which is what they were claiming.
And that is what happens.
Yeah. They can just go in and say whatever they want.
Say whatever they want. I went into as little detail as possible as I could about my own story. Not my first custody battle, but second story of my kids being targeted with false allegations from someone that was previously romantically involved with my husband, and all they have to do is say it. That's all they have to do.
And the manipulation of children's brains.
Yes,
that's
and I've
huge.
seen that firsthand as well, where kids are highly, highly, highly impressionable, and alienation happens when children believe that, okay, I have one parent over here, you, that I know will always love me unconditionally. If mom finds out that I lie, she's still going to love me. I don't have to earn her love. But this parent over here, their love has to be earned. And I have to perform to get love from that parent. So I have to be compliant and I have to tell these lies, or my safe connection with this parent is going to be in jeopardy.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened in your case.
Exactly.
It's exactly what happened to so many people I know.
So I will stay a week before they were taken. I forgot this. My kids come home from school and they're like, Mom, this lady came and interviewed us, DCF or CPS, whatever we call it.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell our therapist what we said, are they? And the twins were crying. They're 10. No, well, they usually just say if it's, someone's doing something bad or not. Mom, they can't tell the therapist, I like this lady. They can't tell the therapist what I said or my dad what I said. Well, what'd you say? I just don't want them to tell. Well, the DCF called me after they were taken. I got a hold of her 2 or 3 months later after I hadn't talked, still haven't seen them. She said, Megan, your kids were fine. They didn't have any sexual problem. Nothing was wrong. Your kids are great. I have it on recording. I believe your children are being prodded, and I fear for the safety of their mental brains with their father.
Right.
Yeah, because...
And no one will do anything.
I mean, you don't think... People just don't realize how common this is and how easily children are manipulated. They're manipulated so easily because they're trying to get safe connection. They're trying to figure out, how do I get or maintain the safe connection with my caregiver? And a child will grasp at straws and do just about anything to not have their caregiver abandon them.
And do you think, like, when a child attaches herself to an abuser, it's almost safer for them because they're not being targeted anymore?
Yeah.
Does that make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my children were constantly getting prodded. Your mom I can't believe your mom put birthday signs in your yard and for your birthday, and she wasn't saying it out there. Just silly little things. But now they don't hear that.
Yeah.
So it's almost more peaceful for them. But they know I love them unconditionally.
Right.
Yeah.
So that it's safer. They know I'm always going to be there. My door's always going to be open. I don't know. That's just something I've tried to, like.
It is. And alienation is just an interesting topic. I mean, there's so many different stages of alienation, and it goes from mild coercion and a child basically lying. That's kind of like the first stage. And it goes all the way up to they start to believe these narratives where they call it gatekeeping, where the abusive parent will say these things to the child to make the child, in this really roundabout way, start to believe that the other parent is unsafe. Like, I can't believe your mom did this. And I can't believe your mom, let you wear shorts to school when it was only 70 degrees. That's too cold. And I can't believe she put you in that situation. She's, and just these little ways in which they insert the idea that the other parent is bad and that the other parent doesn't have their best interest in mind.
I can't believe they let you eat that
Right.
at that time of night.
Yes, that's called gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like this intermediate alienation phase. And then we get to full-blown alienation where the child actually does start to reject the safe parent. Because again, there's a psychological concept called splitting, and kids have an underdeveloped psyche, obviously. And so they start to sort of categorize, well, this is the good parent and this is the bad parent. And even though they haven't experienced you being the bad parent, the other parent has gained so much credibility with them and has manipulated them so much. And again, underlying all of that is their fear that if I don't comply, I lose access or safe connection to this other parent. And there is sort of in the back of their mind, like, okay, I know that it's going to be okay with this parent, but I just need to go along and keep the peace. And there's a lot of elements of compliance for children around trying to keep the peace and trying to be compliant to their parents. And so they will start essentially participating in the targeting against you.
And believing
it.
And that's what's happened with mine because they've been withheld for so long. Because, I lost them January 29th of 2024. I didn't see them until December 23rd of 2024. No contact, no phone calls, nothing.
You would have to commit me.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I would be.
I can't even imagine. I cannot imagine that.
I can't drive through town. What if I see my kids at the store? I couldn't imagine seeing my child at the store and them not, because they were told if they said hi to me, if they ever saw me, that I'll go to jail. A month after they're taken, my best friend was at school seeing my daughter, and she leaned over and said, "Your mom misses you and loves you." She got in trouble.
What?
How dare you tell by the stepmom? And I'm like, wait, where are we in a situation to where my kids didn't see a picture of me. My kids didn't even know what I looked like anymore. My friends they were drawing pictures at dance practice and what my mom looked like. They took everything. They took my whole, and then everything got taken. So my problem is I can't imagine being a 10-year-old little girl or boy, go to school and never see your mom again.
Yeah.
Not even a phone call, nothing. They took all their phones, changed all their numbers.
How can these judges live with themselves?
They live 5 minutes from me. I can't even drive by the house, even though it's a main street. Then I get the cops call that I'm stalking them. I'm not.
Right.
You really think I want to drive by my ex's house to see my kids outside playing?
I would probably be in prison.
Yeah, I probably would be too, honestly.
I mean, I know we say that and it's easy to say that, but your ultimate goal is like, no, I don't want to end up in prison because I want to see my kids back, right?
Well, and that's what people like, just go see them at school. I'm like, or the grocery store.
They don't let you.
No, they don't let you, but it's more damaging for them, my children. I care more about my kids' brains. So if I saw my kids and they are scared that they say hi to me, that's so trauma them to see their mama and can't say hi.
Right.
And then I couldn't say hi. And if I said hi to them, I go to jail, that guilt I would put on them. I care more about my kid's brain than my own feelings of seeing my children. Yeah. So no, I can't drive through town. I've had trauma where I couldn't even drive by their school and I had to. But I happened to clear my whole house out that I just bought. The room's empty. That we just decorated the night before. My daughter rearranged her whole room. So, and everything's in storage. But he's taken me down, and that's what they do. They push you so hard to where you go crazy. You unalive yourself. You do stupid things.
Yeah. That's the real, okay, moms, if you're in the car with your kids, turn the volume down. Fuckery of this system is the fact that they do all of these horrible things. There is so much injustice in so many different ways. It doesn't even make any freaking sense half the time. And then when you react in any way, then they can point the finger at you and say, you're crazy.
You're damned if you do.
You're damaging. Or here's the evidence that you're unstable.
Right.
They push you to instability and take your kids away. And then, look, you're unstable.
Yep.
And that's what they did to me. I had a psychiatrist evaluation a year before my kids were taken. It came back saying, I'm too positive a person. Everything I've gone through with all the court stuff, I shouldn't be this positive. And I was theatrical, whatever that means. Theatrical. I'm animated.
I'm animated.
But his came back, he had anger issues, he needs all this. Then they take my kids. Then the GAL says, you need to go back and get another one. I'm like, what? You're going to make me take another psych evaluation less than a year later when you take my kids away?
When you've taken my kids away, right. Exactly.
Yeah, how's that going to turn out now? Yeah, I'd be the first one to say, I'm one step away from being committed.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the doctor, I said, the same doctor, I said, how would I answer these questions? Because last time one of the questions were, are you sad a lot? No, I'm not. I'm a happy person. But I am sad now. I lost my kids.
Yeah.
So it's going to be opposite. But normally, am I sad? No. But you took my kids away. So I literally recorded myself doing the answers out loud because I was like, this is ridiculous. How am I supposed to answer how I'm feeling when my kids are gone? I haven't seen them in 2 months at that point.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we had other sessions from the same doctor. And I'm like, who ordered this? No one even ordered it. The GAL did. So that was a violation. And so then we had one more session left with the psychiatrist on Zoom. The last one. And he's like, I got one more session I want to do with you. I said, okay, well, what did the test come back at so far? What are you thinking about me? Just curious, because I knew it'd be bogus. One of them, it was a disorder where you can't even survive without this relationship. I can't think of what it was called.
Like dependency?
Yes, so dependent that it was such a bad one, I think, if I looked it up, I remember correctly, that I couldn't even take care of myself physically, even shower, because I'm so dependent on my children. And here I was working still, wearing makeup, taking care of myself, lost my children, go to work, act perfectly happy. 5 o'clock would hit, I would just cry. And then I couldn't go home. So I would just drive until 8 or 9 was dark. I couldn't go to my friend's house and cry because all their kids were missing my kids.
All right.
So I had nowhere to go and cry because I didn't want to upset the kids because all these kids loved me. Because I've been, anyway, but that's what he started labeling me as. I'm like, I am not code. I mean, I'm still surviving.
Right.
Yeah, that's not dependency.
No.
Plus, you'd already been divorced.
He was saying I was dependent on my children, I think.
Okay.
Because I can't, and I'm like, but I mean, working. I was still working full time.
These are my children that I should be nurturing and taking care of.
And not even a goodbye. Then I got in trouble. They said I put perfume on their stuff outside when I had to take it all outside. And I did put notes. I put notes in there saying, I love you. I put it in their Bibles, or I put it in their PlayStations I had to give them. And I got in trouble for it.
What?
Why were you getting in trouble for a mom saying I love you?
Yeah, that's happened to another creator that I'm friends with on TikTok who has gone through something similar as you. Very, very abusive ex. Definitely took kids, manipulated or coerced or manipulated the court system. And she did something similar and got reprimanded for that.
And I didn't put perfume on them. Another woman did that got her kids taken away at the same time.
Yeah.
So they actually mixed the stories up because the same GAL.
I mean, I had a similar circumstance. When my son got taken away, I was like, because I quit my job. I was going to move, and things didn't work out the way that they should. So I wasn't working at the time, and I was like, oh well, I'll just go volunteer at his preschool. That's something for me to do. No, they put a stop to it. They wouldn't allow it.
Can't.
They would not allow it. And so, I mean, I know to some degree just what that feels like to all your options just completely stripped from you.
If I was convicted of actually legally charged, my trial would have been way faster, and I would have had more rights to my children if it was in the criminal world.
Yes, I say that all the time. It's like there is absolutely no due process in family court. There's no real due process. None of the protections of due process are available in family court. And I think that is a huge issue. Like what immediately should have happened in your situation was that there should have been a speedy jury trial where the evidence was presented if these things were true or false, right?
My mom hired an attorney
never happened.
for $10,000, and that attorney could have appealed it within 14 days. No, didn't do anything. And then she just left a month later and still lost all the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also something that we hear too, just attorneys kind of abandoning cases and not following through.
And then they set it up. They set it up to where when they took everything away, child support, I knew I lost everything. And then they set the trial up for August. It was January I lost my kids. August? Then they put in stipulations that I would have reunification therapy with my children, and then the therapist will be able to testify in court. Guess when they finally put in a reunification therapist in? July 22nd.
Yeah, and now they pull the whole, well, you've been away from them for too long, so you have to do reunification therapy.
And then I had to go through from July to December personal sessions to see if I could handle talking to my children. Then that was like every week I was there going,
oh my gosh, your nervous system. I can't even imagine that. Because you're being evaluated and the pressure that must be like. if I do one wrong thing, how are they going to twist it? How are they going to misinterpret it? How is this going to be presented, right? Also knowing the kids have completely been psychologically coerced and alienated.
Not talked to, because they were completely gone.
Yeah, because, I mean, they can't hear your side of the story. I mean, not that you would parentify them in that way, but they can't experience you being a loving caregiver, which is the only way that you can essentially fight that narrative, right?
Right.
And that's taken from you.
When I did finally see my twins later on, you can tell they're mad at me. And my daughter did say, you let this happen. Because they're being told I wasn't doing what I'm supposed to be doing to see them. Mom's not going to doing her stuff. The court said she needs to do this. She's not. Yes, I am. And not to mention, my ex I'm in court in Missouri because he filed before my child support was taken away to take my maintenance away. So I'm in 2 different courts. I have 2 different attorneys email me constantly. So all of a sudden, the Kansas court said, oh, take her child support away because she still has that $3,000 maintenance to live off of. Okay?
Which is
he filed.
nothing.
Right. But then
nothing,
well, how do you maintain your home when you relied on that money?
Right.
And I just bought this home. But my ex had filed a month earlier to cancel my maintenance. But that told the other court that it's still there. It's always going to be there. So now I got served.
Oh gosh, I can't even imagine. One court system in one jurisdiction is dysfunctional enough, but then having 2 courts that somehow have to communicate with each other or know what's going on, there's no way.
Yeah. And the lawyers lie to each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
they either lie to each other or they're rubbing elbows with each other, and both ways you're doomed.
I just had court last week in Missouri, and I had to do a pretrial. And my ex's attorney looked at the judge and said, oh, their case is closed indefinitely. I said, it is not. So my story gets sicker because they're demanding I pay GAL fees, all these fees, to the same man that never questioned me if the accusations were true, to the same man and therapist that knew DCF came back saying I was a great mother. I had state representatives know me personally, been in my home that wrote letters. I have so much solid evidence as a mom. I can't pay all this money. So I filed a motion with the judge telling him I cannot afford these GAL fees. He said, okay, we'll handle that during trial. Then I had to move trial back from August. How am I supposed to go to trial, have this reunification therapist tell the judge the truth about me and my children, how we interact together, when I haven't seen them? So it got pushed back. So pretrial to January. Push back. January.
Now it's been a year since you've seen your kids.
So then we have pretrial. Finally, thinking, hoping, I'm going to have a hearing. Oh, we're going to do it April 22nd, which is funny. It's Karen Reed. You guys know Karen Reed's story.
Yeah.
Karen Reed's is April 27th, and her whole life changed on January 29th, too, which is funny. But April 22nd, I cried to the lawyer. Not cried, but I was, Your Honor, can we have it sooner? It's been a year.
Right.
Oh, no, April 22nd. Never got, that was it. And then April 1st, I find out the judge canceled the trial, the 4-day trial, because I didn't pay $13,000 in attorney fees for the GAL. No one told me.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that they do to you. If the judge orders a gall or what in Kentucky a lot of times it's called a friend of the court, which they have a little bit of, it's a little bit different. The FOC is not actually an attorney for the child. They're just like a court investigator. But if you can't pay the fees, okay, well, this is stuck then. It's stalled.
And I think that's one thing through this whole process, because I had one reunification therapy canceled because I owed $500. And I mean, I don't pay for my kids' expenses, but I pay way more in the therapy stuff.
All right.
And this whole time, my children are still seeing the therapist that they're not supposed to be seeing anymore. Anyway, it gets complicated with that. But now it's becoming pro se and learning my rights. If a therapist cancels your session because you don't have the money to see your child, that's illegal. You hold them accountable. You tell them in the email, you are going to report them. And guess what? I still see my child every week, reunification therapy. He's not billing me anymore. I spent $10,000 just to see my kids in reunification therapy. But what they're doing is completely illegal. And once you've learned that, just even a simple email to a therapist to that they're violating your rights as a mother, they start changing. They start being scared.
Yeah, so take us down this
take
rabbit
us
hole.
down the hope journey, because
Yes.
we need some hope.
Yeah, because so
need
this
some
is
hope.
where, for our listeners, we start finding some empowerment.
Yes.
And you are doing some unbelievable things at the federal level.
Yes.
To fight for your children, to get your children back, and to change precedent so that this doesn't happen, God forbid, to anyone else in the future. Because if you're changing precedent at the federal level, then that can be cited as case law, right? And
Exactly.
that these things aren't going to fly in the lower courts anymore if there's federal precedent change. So tell us about these lawsuits. Tell us about your journey of learning the law. I think if we weren't in the psychiatric ward, Raina, this is probably the route that we would have taken. Like I probably would have done the same thing, Meg. I would have quit my job and I would have learned to be an attorney to fight for my kids. And that's essentially what you've done.
Yes.
So tell us about this journey.
When I realized, I've always been like you too, you can learn yourself, right? I can change flooring, I can change an outlet, right? When I was realizing that these attorneys were so not very smart, not saying all attorneys, they're great attorneys, right? But I was like, something's off here. So then I started going to, I can't afford case law, you look at all the cases. So I found Court Listener, it's called, and it's a nonprofit organization called Free Law. They believe everyone should have the right to read any case they want. So Court Listener is a great thing. I love, I'm so thankful for them. But you can go on there and search any case and read. And people don't realize that if a judge in a federal court, for instance, denies somebody's motion, the judge will tell you what they did wrong. So that's how I started learning. I started fighting. I started reading cases every day. I wake up on the weekends. I don't have a weekend. I just learn every day, every single day, read the laws, read my statutes. So I've been finding cases even in my state where somebody got their trial canceled because of fees, and the Supreme Court came back saying you can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Okay. So I started learning, and that's when I've taught so many women just to learn how to learn, because I'm not teaching you law. I'm teaching you where to go find it.
Right. The
Go
resources.
search the resources. That's all I'm teaching. And I've had this one mother that lost her child the same way, and she's gone from being so scared when the therapist emails her that now she's like, learned so much.
Empowered.
And she's not scared. She would leave her therapy crying. Megan, she's totally gaslighting me. She said I have a personality disorder because I was just asking for my therapy notes. And then the same GAL says, no, because she asked for her therapy notes, I think she's really going mental. I'm not going to let her see her daughter anymore. I have that proof.
This GAL sounds corrupt.
Yeah,
Corrupt
he's really bad.
AF.
Yeah, very corrupt.
I went from this woman crying, leaving a therapist, to now she's filing her first federal lawsuit today.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
She did it herself. I didn't tell her. I told her, go study this. Here's your statutes. Go. And I told her websites, easy, anyone. And she's like, now she talks to me. When you're talking to a lawyer, you don't understand what they're saying. And now when she calls me, she's like, well, what about this complaint? What about this? I don't want to talk too big on that. The vocabulary for law is a whole language.
Sure. Yeah.
It is.
And now she's talking the language. And I'm just so proud of her. And that's like, she couldn't believe that. And that's where I think the hope is. When you start learning your rights, they start stepping back. I've helped a few men learn how to stand up and read their law. What is your state? When anyone asks me anything, well, what's your state law say?
Right.
Well, I don't know. We'll go look it up.
Right. I know that there was so many violations in my case. There were so many violations of like local court rules and stuff, like the attorneys not filing things on time and things should have proceeded, and then judges pushing back, giving, and my, gosh, this is hard because my ex, one of the things that I was pushing for so hard was drug and alcohol testing, because I knew that he was using. I knew that he was in active addiction, and I don't know how he passed his alcohol test. I don't know if he had somebody pee for him. I don't know. But, all of his alcohol tests after the first one he failed came back clean. And so, of course, they didn't believe me, right? And then his attorney, broke the local rules and didn't have a response in on time. And instead of proceeding with our trial to, me show my evidence and to hopefully get this drug and alcohol testing and get custody of my children, because he was driving with them drunk and, putting them at risk, it got pushed back. Well, guess what? He OD'd in that 2-week pushback. Wow. And that was not the first pushback. And it was like, someone had to die for the truth to come out. And that is not okay.
No.
None of what we're talking about today is okay.
It's not.
And this is in a system that is supposed to protect the best interest of children, and how they get it wrong nearly every single time is freaking baffling to me.
It is baffling.
And the last thing I want to give our listeners is no hope for getting a divorce. There is hope. But we also have to be very, very aware, because being aware and empowered going in, and that's what you're doing, is like, people, if you know your rights, which I didn't know my rights, I had no idea what my rights were.
And that's what I tell people, even before you file for divorce, go learn before you have to leave.
Go learn before you do it.
Because you will actually they will respect your rights if you state them.
Right.
Be
And
your
that is
own
the
advocate.
solution here.
Yes.
That is the solution here that we want to present to our listeners. So, maybe for people this can be prevented, because your rights have been violated up and down, right and left, and you have figured that out, and now you are suing at the federal level. So tell us about those lawsuits.
I'm suing, so I'm not suing the judge, because those are harder, and I don't even want to go down that road, but I'm suing the GAL with DCF, Department of Transportation, because DCF didn't tell the court that I was a good mom, and the GAL withheld the good mom from the court. And then I'm suing the therapist as well. I have a lawsuit I'm about to put in against my ex and his wife for conspiracy, fraud, violations of my children's rights. All that's big. My family's a part of that, because I will tell you, 98% of people I talk to have gone through similar situations. They have family members that turn on them.
Yes. And, I think what people don't understand about true, and I'm not diagnosing your ex. This is not a diagnosis. This is a general statement, okay? I'm not pointing fingers. What they do not understand about psychopaths is that psychopaths are so cold and so calculated, and they're so different than sociopaths. Like, sociopaths are so impulsive, and they trip up, and they make mistakes. True psychopaths, they play the long game. They're calculated. They plan, and they cross their T's and dot their I's, and then they get away with that stuff because they're not acting on impulse. They're acting from a place of true, cold-hearted, calculated manipulation. They have no empathy. It does not exist within them
Does
at
it
all.
make him happy when he sees me upset?
It's all about control. It's not necessarily happiness. Essentially, they have to know that they have control, or else they feel completely empty. Like, the only thing that makes them feel satisfied, and of course there's so many different presentations of this, but is just knowing that they have control, right? Because the emptiness makes them feel so out of control. They have no sense of identity. They have no sense of, true reality of like human quality, right? Like human.
And that's why they're so
intimacy and
good in
experience.
family court, because they love the
100%.
constant.
Yeah.
They thrive on it. It actually, it temporarily fills their inner emptiness. And so, we're not talking about just somebody here with like NPD. Like, we're talking about people with like ASPD traits, and people who have like the dark triad, Machiavellianism, which is, the desire to truly coerce and manipulate and hurt people. And if you're dealing with somebody who's at that level, the amount of pain, the amount of illegality they're willing to risk, and the amount of pain that they can inflict, it's incomprehensible. And so,
that's where they make money.
I've never met a true psychopath face to face. I don't think my ex was a psychopath. I think he had NPD, but I can't give your ex that diagnosis. But if that is what you are experiencing, it all lines up with the way that they work and what they will do and the lengths that they will go to hurt someone and to have that power and control.
And manipulate so many other people in the process.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever carnage is there. The kids, it doesn't matter, because they don't feel true intimate connection. They don't feel true love. They don't feel the normal things for their children that normal parents would feel.
So then after all of this, I had 10 years with my children, right? And I know they'll be back one day.
Yeah.
And I know I'll have grandkids. What does, in your opinion, when children go through this and have one parent that is completely different, I'm not going to diagnose anyone either, completely different, how do children start, are they going to be, is my kids going to be damaged forever? Or, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I think that they're probably going to need a lot of support, because what I usually see happen in these cases is that when children realize that they had been manipulated and that the narrative of the parent who they have been alienated against was not the bad parent, it's like their world just kind of shatters because like everything they know to be true is now not true. Mm-hmm. And they will need some support through that. But usually they are very willing to rebond and reattach with the parent that they have been alienated against. Mm-hmm. And so that's good news for you because they will eventually be old enough where you're not in the family court system anymore.
That's right.
And so although, you know, it makes me really so sad for you that you're missing out on so much of their childhood.
My girls are the
There's
best.
going to be a day where they are going to wake up and they're going to go, oh my God, this narrative that I have been given about my mother was never true. And I missed out on these years with my mother. But the research does show that when they find, that the rebonding and the reattaching can occur. And that's the beautiful thing about attachment. And that's what my whole platform is about, is attachment. Attachment is flexible until the day that you die. And so I know it, I feel it in my heart that they're going to reattach to you and that you are going to have years and years and years with them where that you will get to make up somewhat for this lost time.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
I'm so proud of my kids.
Oh, yeah.
My oldest has over 120,000 followers on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
And she went through a really dark side. That's a whole other story, but she went through a really dark depression, trying to unalive herself multiple times hanging off a bridge because she told the police her dad did stuff to her when she was a kid.
And he still has custody of
And
it.
she aligned with him because he threw her in foster. And I thought she was going to a mental hospital because I couldn't afford her a nice one. And then she kept trying to kill herself, like literally hanging off a bridge and the cops are holding on to her. Through all this, but that's how this all really started.
And see, this is the collateral damage to kids. And where are the family court judges? Where are the judges? Where are the people standing up and saying, look at how the kids are being affected? Of course, if you are ripped away from your primary attachment and placed with a serious abuser and manipulator, you are going to go through some serious mental and psychiatric struggles. Yeah. Of course. Where is the support for these children?
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's just not
it's
there.
not
The
there.
state made me give my daughter my rights away because I couldn't afford to put her in a mental hospital. But yet the forensic interview proved he did it. Prosecutor in Missouri was trying to go after him. Kansas didn't care. And they told me you have to give them up to the state so she can get mental help. It was my ex that did this. He put her in foster to shut her up. She's 14.
That's sick.
So, but she was in foster, and then they wouldn't let me talk to my daughter. So I haven't actually talked to my oldest since August 10th of 2023, because that's when she went to state care. And then they let him talk. I wasn't allowed. I don't know why.
What?
So they got her, so what did she have to do? Let's see, stay in a foster care with 7 other kids 2 hours away, or move in with my rich dad. Suck up to him. So she did. And I'm happy.
The abuser.
Yeah. The abuser. Yeah. And so now, so that's why I wanted to tell her I love her and I'm proud of her. She's so good on YouTube. She's like making a really good living and she's 17 and she looks just like me. So it's really hard to go on YouTube because the first thing I see is her. But I want her to know I didn't give up on her.
Yeah.
She did email me, Mom, why did you put me in here? I go, I did it. And I wasn't allowed to reply back to her email that she hid to me because the state told me, the attorneys in the state told me if I told reply back, I would lose all my 4 children. This was in 2023. So she doesn't even know the truth because I would, so.
Well, you have 1 more year and she can know the truth, right?
Yeah.
Because she'll be 18. She'll be out of the system.
But she's still it's been years of her thinking that I just pushed her out. Why would you side with my father? And I go, I didn't, but I couldn't tell her that.
So maybe she'll listen to this.
That's what I'm saying. She's so big on YouTube.
Yeah, maybe
she'll. And I'm so proud of her, and I want her, and I wanted her to know, like, I'm so proud of all my children. My twins are the most amazing.
Give me her
competitive
YouTube. I'll tag her. Yeah, I'll tag her in our this podcast post.
Yeah, we want her
to
know.
So what do you want to say to her if we tag her?
I want to tell her that I'm really proud that she looks so good and her YouTube is I'm so proud of how she's doing her YouTube. She's doing a 17 and it's so girl. It's not sexual. It's not anything but a really awesome girl trying to help other girls do makeup. She didn't go down a bad route on the social media. She could be making fun of people,
Right.
Her content is so authentic and beautiful and she's gorgeous. And I'm really proud of what she's doing in her life. And one day I want her to know that she's always welcome. And I never gave up on her.
Well, we're going to do that. We're going to tag her in this post because let him come after me. I dare you.
She hasn't blocked me, so I think that she's okay with me. She knows I can see it.
Yeah.
At least she hasn't blocked me, so that's why I constantly see. But yeah.
And if you could say anything to your other children, what would you want to say?
All
to
of them. Braden,
Yeah.
Tristan. I see Tristan every week. He was the only kid of mine that when they got in the car after leaving their fathers, their kids would all be questioning, Mom, did you do this? Mom, Dad said this. Shelly said this. Tristan would be the one, no, guys, you know Mom.
Yeah.
He is an old soul.
Yeah. Well, and he's been in contact with you, so that says something.
Right,
you know?
but he didn't get manipulated to not be in contact. The other ones did. He didn't. And so he sees me every week. We have the hour. I love him and I miss him. Like I just hold him and we sit and talk, and we used to play VR together, all of us. Anyway, the twins, that's hard because, and Braden, they're both competitive and they're so talented. I haven't been able to see my twins dance on stage once. And they've won a lot, and like big things. They took all that. And so I want to tell my twins, I'm so proud. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And when I see them on stage, a friend will send me a video. It kills me.
Sure.
Because I didn't know they could do an aerial. I didn't know they could do the splits.
Right.
My twins went from zero dance to one of the best competitive dancers for their age. And I can't tell them that.
Yeah.
They have a gift. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's just... my door's always open.
Yeah.
I don't care if they've talked bad about me or told therapist lies or whatever.
Right.
My door's always open. My heart's always there, and it will never be shut, no matter what happens.
And for anybody that's just having an ounce of questioning, like, is this person legit? Like, is this her side of the story really true? Listen, I have seen parental alienation. It's happened to me. My ex tried to alienate my oldest daughter from me. I lived what it looks like for a child to be manipulated against a parent and a child being forced to lie. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've had clients who have had it happen. It happens every single day because children's psyches are very easily manipulated. And so if you're like, okay, well, how can all her kids like be against her? Listen, it only takes one master manipulator to orchestrate this entire thing. And so you're on here because it does sound implausible, right? It does sound like how in the heck could this truly happen?
When the children are told that if you tell a lie or don't tell this about your mother, you're going to foster.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course, they live in fear.
Because they saw their small sister tell the truth. I wasn't even with her when she went to the police. They saw their sister tell the truth and she went into foster.
Yeah. So they live in fear. You're living in fear, and it's just incredibly unfair.
Right.
But there is hope. Obviously, I think that, Meg's talked about that.
There is a lot of hope. And I will
Yeah.
say the challenge I've gone through of losing my children's horrible, but God has taken something to good.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm here with you guys.
That's right.
And more
you're-
people are going to become aware of it.
That's exactly right.
And I'm helping more people, more kids, more parents. I literally FaceTime with other moms that got their kids back. And their kid wanted to meet me on FaceTime. And that right there,
That's
I
huge.
have to give up my children for this.
Yeah, that's
right?
empowering. Yeah.
But I'm helping.
Yeah,
And we're
there's-
changing, and you guys are changing it because we're this. So it's horrible what we go through in life, but let's turn it to good and change, help everybody else. Then we'll have less women hurt themselves or men do things to children. Anyway, it sounds so sad what everything we've gone through, but everything bad, you can make it amazing if you just
Absolutely.
keep fighting hard
Absolutely.
and never give up.
There's
Yeah.
always
No,
a
you
silver
can't give
lining.
up. You can't give up. And I've said that before, you have to fight. So Meg, tell us about these federal lawsuits because as we mentioned before, it's not just about getting your kids back. It's about making sure that the lack of due process does not cause another mother or father to have their kids stripped from them under false allegations. Because false allegations are probably, I would say, the number one problem in family court. Family court is the only place where people can come in and lie through their teeth, and there absolutely is no consequence for doing so. So tell us about these federal lawsuits and what you're hoping to gain from them.
With the federal lawsuits, I'm also focusing on the due process. And a lot of people are like, what's due process? It means putting the laws of evidence in, meaning
someone should have been on the witness stand. So if anyone's taking the children away, did someone get on the witness stand? If they didn't testify under oath that it's true, it's kind of like when a woman gets raped. They have to get up and testify, and a lot of times they don't want to, so they just drop it, right? Same thing. It should happen with children. So the other one is freedom of speech. The reason they want us to have these gag orders on us, because the more we talk, the more they're going to be exposed.
Right. Yeah. And I know that was the case in, my custody battle it was like, no, you can't talk to anybody about it. I mean, maybe your personal therapist, but you can't talk to your friends. You're not supposed to talk to your mom. You can't,
Which is absurd.
If you have a media platform, you can't speak out. You can't do anything. And even if there's all this corruption and you think, well, I need to fight back and I need people to know that there's this corruption, they will use that against you.
I had a mother just text me on the way here yesterday. She had 3 kids, she had triplets, and a 5-year-old. Her husband left for a whole year with a girlfriend in Europe. And I've looked at her case, so I know she's true. He came back, the girlfriend wanted him, took the kids away. And yesterday she said, I can't speak on social anymore. They're threatening me. And she hasn't seen her kids. She's a beautiful young girl. But that is huge. They don't want us to talk. And that's what happened to me. I was on Facebook, private little group of friends. I was upset. I needed someone to talk to.
Sure.
Of course.
And it would be like a text message or email. It was private. My ex logs into everything, found it, told the courts. They tried to put me in contempt of court, put in jail. My friends were putting bail money together, all because I said something in a private message on Facebook. Gosh. So that's where I was like, what?
Yeah.
So
family court will gag
change.
you, and that's the very first thing. Even when you oftentimes sign on with an attorney, and get a retainer going with them, they will make you sign something saying, I agree to not speak about this on social
that's why
media.
my attorney dropped me. A month after, because she's like, oh, you posted
I've done that twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
And I think ultimately the biggest change has to come, like you said, with the due process, getting the proper people in place, but to ultimately protect the children, because the children are really the ones that are suffering here.
Such victims.
Obviously, you've suffered.
Right.
But
I'll get over it. I'm an adult.
Yeah, right.
I'm not a child.
Right. You have more capacity to deal with it.
And I think you and I talked about this once. I believe this system is starting to make these children have relationship problems.
Oh, for sure.
Yes, this is
It
the
creates
fundamental
a whole
of
generation
attachment
next,
theory.
or next generation.
Right. I mean, we're screwing over a whole generation of kids with family court because we're causing them such attachment issues because somebody who has an enormous amount of power and doesn't know jack crap about what's really going on makes these life-altering decisions that affect these kids for the rest of their lives.
And let's talk about the foundation, though. The foundation truly is marriage, and that's why it's important to pick a good partner,
Yes.
and to have, talk about due process. Have some due process when it comes to who you decide to live your life with,
Yeah.
and who you decide, to reproduce with. And I say that with no judgment because we've all sat here and reproduced with shitty people, So I'm just saying
we can't judge.
You're right. Like, so you have to, I think it starts at that core level,
Becoming attachment secure before you get into a relationship and a marriage, because so many of us, maybe we had semi-good childhoods or even good childhoods, but we might still have some issues that we need to work on and work through, and we're seeking out relationships that are
I was
not
so
healthy.
insecure when I met my ex.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh,
I was
same.
23.
Same.
I made one
Yeah, me
mistake. I
too.
married one person wrong, and my life's
I
been...
was 22.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like you don't know jack nothing at 22.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
You don't
right.
know anything
Right.
at 22. And then you're falling in love, and then there's all this pressure. Your friends are getting married. So then you want to be, not left out, and you want to get married. And, you think it's safe to be pregnant, or in your case, someone is, essaying you and continually, impregnating you, and not that you would take back any of your children.
No.
But,
And
it's
that's when
not
divorce
always,
is the answer. So
it is the answer.
Yeah, divorce sometimes is the answer, but and so therefore, when it is, there has to be something in place that makes it protective, right? And I think that that's your overall goal in trying to advocate for change at the federal level, because we all know, and again, I'll say it, just the video that you posted this week, you can go on there and just read the comments. This is a reoccurring theme that tons of people are going through. And so it needs to be changed. Reform needs to happen. And
Massive reform.
Yeah. And I think, again, going back to the silver lining of it all, or the hope in it all, is that really beautiful things can come from really, really hard things.
Yes.
And I think that's why you deserve just so much recognition and so much validation here, Meg.
Thanks.
Because what you're doing, coming from a place of, I can't imagine the pain. I mean, that's extreme pain. And you are now speaking out, advocating for yourself is one thing, but you're advocating for so many.
For every person.
Yeah.
It's
and
every
that's-
parent, every children.
Yeah.
Every parent.
Yeah.
I'm not discriminating against anything. If it's a good parent that wants to fight for the child, that child has a right to see both parents.
Right.
That's
This is
right.
not a mom issue or a dad issue. This is a parental issue, and each parent has rights to their child.
Where are your children? Where are my children's rights?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Where
they
are the
have
children's rights?
to be with loving parents
And have access to them,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what that the federal cases are really emphasizing on that, because there's so many attorneys. I'm suing the next one's suing my ex's attorneys, because if my ex attorney knows my divorce decree, knows the abuse, but she still represents him,
Right.
that's a violation. So, and that's taking my rights away.
Yeah.
So I mean, Sunday I decided on Monday I'm driving to DC. Drove all the way to DC. Met Rand Paul, one of our big congressmen.
Yeah, he's our Kentucky
Yep.
senator.
Met and talked to him 3 times.
Oh,
Walked
that's
within the
great.
halls.
That's great.
Hey, remember me?
Yeah.
Have a meeting with my office. I know, but I'm still here.
Right.
You know, have a card. I don't have a card. I'm a mom. Just
Yeah.
wants my kids'
All right.
rights back.
Yeah.
Eric Smith. He's from Missouri. So I slept in my car with all the truckers, McDonald's, you know, on my back. And if a parent's fighting that hard for their children, that's not a
Yeah.
bad parent.
Hell to the no.
No. Hell to the no.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you for having
telling
me
your
on.
story, for being here today. We are so appreciative, and I know this will be so valuable to our listeners. And listen, you guys stay tuned, because this series will continue. We're going to have more wonderful guests. Sarah and I are going to get a little bit more in depth about our own stories. I've never really gotten in depth about my personal story, but that's to come. And of course, our next guest is going to be an attorney. So there's going to be so much valuable information. So stay tuned. Of course, I always have to do a shameless plug. And if you are looking for really, I mean, Dr. Hensley helps with this. She can help with this. She's not an attorney, of course.
I don't give any legal advice, no, but I can help you emotionally cope through the divorce process. And I do try to connect people with outside resources, you know, for things that I can't help with.
Right.
But, or saving your marriage so that you don't have to go through a divorce, because family court is unpredictable. And I don't want people to be discouraged from getting a divorce if they need to get a divorce, because my divorce was, like I said, one of the best things that ever happened to me. But at the end of the day, we need to know, you know, what can happen. I mean, your story it isn't the usual, but it's not
Mine's
the
the
usual story.
extreme.
It's the extreme side of what can happen. But I think we need to know that this is happening to people. And even if it's, you know, okay, let's say it's 0.5% of everybody that gets a divorce. That's still a hell of a lot of people.
Heck yeah.
Right?
It's
that are
actually
being
2%
affected.
they say are bad. 2%
Yeah.
of all divorces
Yeah.
are horrible. Well, if you take how many get divorced, that's
Right.
still a lot of
Yeah.
people.
It's still a lot of people,
and a lot
right?
of children. Take that times how many children are in that one case.
Right. And the majority of people go on and get divorced. And yeah, maybe there's tension. And yeah, maybe they don't really like their ex. But it all ends up working out pretty well. You know, they have a co-parenting relationship, and, you know, they
Everyone
may not
cooperates.
and everybody cooperates, and it ends up being okay. But the system is so flawed. If it's not okay, it's really not okay.
That's right. And so you can walk people through that emotionally.
Yes, I can.
Of course,
I
for
will
all
hold
of-
your hand through it.
That's right. For all of our listeners, we offer promo code LoveDoc27 for 27% off any of Dr. Hensley's services. So please go check her out at thelovedoc.com. Meg, where can our listeners find you?
Stand with Meg on all platforms.
Okay. I stand with Meg on all platforms.
And the website, standwithmeg.com. Pretty
Yes.
simple.
Standwithmeg.com. So I found you on TikTok, and your platforms are growing, you know, and, you know, when we decide to have guests on, I usually only choose guests that have really large platforms. But I was like, no, my goal here is to enlarge your platform, because you know, when I started following you 6 months or so ago, I said, this is the most horrific family court case I've ever heard of in my life. And you have so many videos of you with your children playing and having fun, and just your memories and pictures and photographs.
And
There's
crying.
no way that you can make that up.
Well, I
right?
do the crying one so people can see that that's real.
Yeah.
They can cry.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and you'll get through it. But I wanted to say thank you for supporting someone that is lower on the social media, because when I find someone speaking up, I work my butt off to help them get bigger.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Give them
That's our
power.
mission.
Yeah.
I want you to have a voice for all of those that are voiceless, that are fighting this exact same battle. And you are fighting on the legal front without any prior legal knowledge. You have essentially self-taught yourself to be a lawyer.
Well, if I can teach myself how to do my Botox and lip filler, I can do that.
Wow, you're doing all the things.
I am. I can do
all
everything.
the things.
Ask Jolene.
Yeah. Well, we are just
Sorry, took that there.
No, that's funny. I like to end on a funny note anyway. So thank you again for being here. Of course, listeners, go check out Meg, go check out Dr. Hensley, and stay tuned. And until next time, peace, love, and perspective.